Hi, welcome Academic Literacy Lab teachers to your asynchronous learning on district-wide day. This is Jill Haltom, the English Language Arts and Reading Director for the district. And I am sorry I cannot see you today, but I am excited and actually looking forward to what you learned from today. So we're going to just jump right in. I'm going to go ahead and put this in present mode. So when you see the video, if you'll click, watch video, well, you will have done that or you wouldn't hear my voice right now. So this is going to take you through several pieces today to support you as a teacher of our students who are really struggling as adolescent readers. We have two main outcomes, and the first is to understand the necessary weekly student activity and Achieve 3000 that accelerates reading growth. And secondly, related to that, is deepen your understanding of what needs to happen to ensure students are growing at an accelerated rate and make a commitment to next steps. I know that this year is not like any other year, but I do think after we go over some information today, that you'll be able to commit to some things so that we can make sure these kiddos who struggle through life, if they struggle in reading, to make sure they don't leave us in that same condition and that we really grow them this year. So here's the simplified plan. We're going to look a little bit at data, and then we're going to gain some knowledge. And then the last step for you is to actually take some action as you go back to your classes. So you've seen this graphic, I'm sure, before if you've taught the Academic Literacy Lab. If you're new to it, then just take a look. We really focus in Richardson ISD on using Achieve 3000 for our struggling readers sometimes, and often those are some of our English learners that are struggling. So that is our primary target. So these first two is how we use the program. So if you'll notice here, there is a formula that is like a magic formula that accelerates students' reading growth, and that is completing 40 plus lessons and scoring on activities at 75% or greater consistently. That it does guarantee us the red bar. So if you notice, this is typical growth, 78 lexiles, and it more than doubles the growth when we follow Achieve 3000 in the design of the delivery and the 5-step system. And then look at what happens if we even do more than that. Then it goes up another almost 100 lexiles, which is incredible because these are the kids that need more than a year's growth right now. They are behind. So I want you to walk away with the understanding that this is the main thing that we need to focus on doing to then get our kids to grow and close those gaps and grow as readers. So how do we close it? We ensure that students complete 2 lessons at that 75% or more mark weekly. That's our commitment. So how are we doing? This data was just pulled mid-October, actually maybe towards the end of October. And there's a lot of different pieces, and there's always a lot of variables. In part, we have junior high that have started Academic Literacy Lab this year, and they're new, and we all started the year strangely, and then had virtual kids. It has not been a norm, no way. But what we are seeing is that if you look right here, the activities per week, you can say we're at 1.1. So we are not at that rate that we need to be to ensure there's an accelerated growth. Good news is it's up from the month before. So that means people are getting in and getting started. But now it's time to dig in and be like, let's go. There's a lot of other data here, but this is big district and big generalities. But we've seen some decreases in areas, and that is due for a number of reasons. But there's some of the things here I want you to reflect on. Why aren't we in the program as much? Looking at the number of student logins, if it's been decreasing, are kids withdrawing, that kind of thing. We had a slight decrease on lexiles, which is not at all surprising sometimes to have that little bit. But just take this data in and start asking your questions that will then inform what steps you need to take to improve as a teacher in the Academic Literacy Lab. So this slide looks different because it came from a slideshow that was given earlier this year. So you should have seen it. And it really talked about in the first few weeks of getting going, what do you need to do? So I want you to, we're going to kind of move into this self-reflection piece. I want you to reflect on that. Have all of your kids completed the level set and achieved 3,000? The answer should be yes. And if it's no, then what do you need to do to make sure that happens as soon as possible? Have you been continuing to build relationships with each and every student, virtual or face to face? I am sure you have, because that is where you guys are super strong. But continue doing it. And I know that's such an effort during this time. Have we established their readers' notebooks, and have you shared about what your life as a reader with them so they see what that looks like? Have you utilized your light for book talks, book tastings? This was all the beginning of the year to get them excited about reading something that they want to read while they are continuing to grow in the program of Achieve 3000. So start your reflection there, but then I want to move into a little bit of a deeper reflection. Today, you're going to observe basically the data, like of what you saw, big data about our district usage. We see that we're not hitting that 2 activities a week mark. And now we're moving into this reflection, because then I want you to plan some learning that you're going to do today and ongoing, and then move that into your experience as a teacher of Academic Literacy Lab. So to get going, you're going to click this button, and it is going to take you to a Google form. I'm not going to click it, but it is a self-reflection tool of best practices in literacy instruction from Achieve 3000. So you will be reflecting on your teacher behaviors before the student independent reading, during student independent reading, and after student independent reading. So thinking through things like the thought question and the revision of the thought question, and the way you anchor your lesson at the beginning, those types of things. So I want you to be really honest in your reflection, because I want you to start thinking about where you want to grow next. What are your next steps to grow? So I'm going to ask you pause the video here, and go ahead and complete that complete this self-reflection form. Okay, I'm assuming you're back. After you've done the reflection form, I want you to think about, what do you need to learn next? Like, what is your next steps for learning? Thinking about how can we make sure that those kids are getting those 2 activities a week. And so if you look at this Padlet, you'll notice already here, this is our goal, our teacher and student goal. Students will complete at least 2 lessons per week with teacher-directed instruction. 2+ lessons per week equals highest fidelity. That is your goal. You want them to perform that average score of 75% or higher. And then the average Lexile will vary, but it should, the goal of Lexile should target to 3 times expected gain. So that all ties to doing these activities, them jumping up the 3 times more than expected. So here's the bullseye. What do you need to learn? So I want you to look at this Padlet right here. It is actually linked. So when you click on it, you will go to this page. Do you need to know about the level set if you haven't finished it? If you finish it, do you need to know what to do afterwards? Do you need to learn more about Lexile information? What about tracking your students? Have you pulled that data? What does that look like? And then what about customizing lessons? Do you need to know more about that? And then there's some information here on reports. So I want you to use this as a library for you to kind of direct your own learning after that reflection. And then I'm also going to show you some other things in the slides that you could use as well. I just put up this sample schedule that was, I believe, in an earlier presentation this year too. I think it's a really good reminder when we're looking at implementing with fidelity. I like that even though this is a 45 to 50-minute class, if you look with our block schedule, basically Monday and Tuesday is a day, a block, and Wednesday and Thursday is a day, a block. So then it would repeat the next week, the same type of things. You will need to build in time, I would say, on the days where you meet 3 times. Definitely have some time to have some collaborative discussions, some student choice, maybe talk about what reading, their self-selected reading. Maybe you do a quick 1 or 2 minute read. Maybe they do some fluency. Whatever the students are needing, you'll need to build that in maybe as part of a rotation, but then right back to at least two full, a Monday, Tuesday as a block and a Wednesday, Thursday as a block when you're planning. And then I like this little instructional focus for like a 6 weeks. We need to be thinking about that. What do they need to work on? Well, that's why that levels text set is so important. So we need to use that, that level set is so important. We need to use that data to inform those decisions. And then you should be getting some map data, if you haven't already, from your kiddos too, that will also point you to the places and the skills that they really need to work on. And then now we're in this world of face-to-face and virtual and co-seating. I like this slide because it provides some examples of that synchronous and asynchronous learning. So whenever you're in your direct instruction, what's your method? And this one can be synchronous or asynchronous. When the kids are in their independent workstations, that can be synchronous or asynchronous. The thing that needs to be synchronous every time is going to be that small group instruction station. So that can be synchronous via a Google Meet while your other students face to face are going through their independent stations, or it can be or through a Zoom, but it needs to be with you, obviously. And then back to teacher direct instruction about the wrap up, the exit ticket, the check for understanding. That can be synchronous or asynchronous. But the part of co-seating is just making sure you know how you're going to collect and know that. If it's within the Achieve 3000 system, you're good to go. If it's something coming to you, do you have it set up in a Google Classroom or Google Slides where you're gathering that information and data? And then this is a session that I offered at Grow, and I know Lindsay, I believe, had it in another time. I don't know if this is something you were told to do, you did, or is optional. It's still optional, but I wanted to go ahead and bring it up because as a secondary language arts teacher, in my experience as a high school who went to middle school teacher before I got my master's in reading, I did not understand this reading continuum, this literacy continuum in reading and writing development. And I did a session on both. And so if you're wanting to grow in your understanding of the thinking that needs to be practiced and taught, the thinking behind the skills, basically, I think this is super informative. It takes about an hour, but you're more than welcome to do that if that's something that you're wanting to pursue. And then back to this again, I'm looping us back to here's what we know. That students grow when they are in the system, at least that 40 to 79 activities. You see that's a huge jump in growth, and another jump again when it gets above that a number. So that is our goal, and I want you to leave today with how do I make sure that happens for these students, because we want them to leave strong as readers and confident, and we want the opportunity to open for them because of that. So on follow-up and ongoing support, I know you know Lakia because she's come around and coached some of you, but she had provided her information in an early session, so I'm putting that there. Also the support at Achieve if it's a technical kind of issue. And then she reminds us of the Resource Center that has an on-demand mini courses. And of course, I want you to know that Lindsay and I appreciate you. There's our contact information. That's our cell phones too, if you need to call or text. And I want you to end your session today with a ticket out. And I'm going to ask you to ticket out for your next steps, so what you're committing to. So I don't know how much time you're given on District Wide Day today to dig in, but the end result today is the commitment to the 2 times a week, reflecting on your practice, and then realizing, okay, that's what I need to get better at, pursuing that learning through the Padlet or through the other links that we have there, and then keeping track and keep going. We want to hear from you how other ways we need to support you. So please there's a space for that as well on the ticket out. And one of the pieces that I've been considering that I'd love to know is having an academic literacy lab PLC that meets. It'd be great if we could meet weekly, but what if I also know you're very busy. But if we met on a consistent basis as a district, just to be able to for me to keep my finger on the pulse and for you guys to be able to report out what's happening and where you need support, I would love to open that up for you. So just let us know. All right, you guys have a great day learning. I look forward to hearing about what you learned about yourself and where you need to work. And I'm excited that we're going to really shift gears to make sure our kids are getting what they need to grow. Appreciate you. Have a great day.